Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back for episode 4 of our F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, ready to head to the Chinese Grand Prix. Quickly, before we jump into this weekend though, I've been doing a few little things behind the scenes. We've now upgraded the quality control in the powertrain department. We've also been able to get a second sponsor on the car. We've got Avanzar as well. We need to complete 50 laps each weekend to be able to get their objectives, and we're also getting 647k a week now from the team as well. Currently, after the last video, if you missed out on that one, I would definitely recommend going back and checking it out, where obviously we head to the Vietnamese Grand Prix, a brilliant race in the end. I would certainly recommend watching that one, as well as if you missed the first episode of our Let's Make McLaren Great Again series, I would definitely recommend checking those two videos out. They'll be linked at the top right-hand side of the screen. If you click the little eye icon, there'll be a link to both of those videos there. But today, though, like I said, we head towards the Vietnamese Grand Prix. In terms of maintenance, not much else we can do at the moment. However, we've got an invitational event before we jump into this weekend's race. So we got to head to Zandvoort for a Red Bull promo. Not too sure why they're not doing it themselves, but 150k, probably worth doing. So here we are then, ready for the checkpoint challenge. To achieve the goal, we need to reach 7.8 kilometers. We'll get $150,000 as well as 1,000 to claim, and we've got 32 seconds. Now, I'm guessing, obviously, after every checkpoint, the time does go up. It's nice to see these challenges finally carrying some weight in the F1 games. Normally you just skip them every single time. But ready then, here in the Red Bull RB6, let's see what we can do. First few laps of Zandvoort. That's not quite where we wanted to be, and I think I know why. I don't know if many of you watched the wheel settings video we made yesterday, but it might be useful if I load up that profile on F1 2020. May as well use the wheel settings that I recommended, rather than just understeering everywhere. But yeah, this, therefore, is Zandvoort. I have, I'll be honest, done a few laps around here. There'll be a 100% race, actually, from this circuit going live later on today. Obviously, if you want to watch that video, make sure you do get yourself subscribed. We're really close to 12,000 subscribers at the time of recording this, so if you can help me get one step closer to that, it would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, Zandvoort, though, a good little fun track, I'll be honest. I won't make too many of my opinions voiced in this video, obviously, because that's sort of what the 100% race later on is all about. But yeah, it seems that we're going to be racing at a lot of Zandvoort this week. At least 3 races, but I think this track, I don't actually know how long this track is, in all honesty. I'm going to guess we've got to do about 2 laps to be able to achieve the goal, but yeah, like I was saying, really good now, finally, that these sort of challenges actually carry some weight in the game, because I always they always look quite good fun, but I never did them just because of how useless they seemed. But yeah, so the track is going to be about 2 laps worth then in the end. Let's just try and finish this thing. Less than 1 kilometre to go then, and I must admit, hearing a V8 sounds quite good again. I'll be honest, down in towards the final few corners. Obviously Zandvoort's a bit weird for me because I have actually done a fair bit of racing around here in the past. It's not a completely new track for me in Formula 1, but down in towards the final couple of corners, there is the goal. We've achieved that, so we may as well just sit here and do some donuts on the banking. Why not, eh? There we go. Objective complete. 150k just for doing 2 laps around Zandvoort. If I could do that every week, I certainly would be considering it. But yeah, 150k, 1,000 a claim. Nice and simple. Quickly then, before we jump into this weekend, we have got just about enough R&D points to upgrade another aero part on the car. We're going to go with the rear wing outer strakes. That's going to leave with just 3 R&D points ready for the Chinese Grand Prix. But at the moment, though, we're closing up on AlphaTauri. We've got another couple of upgrades on the car ready for this weekend as well, which is good to see. 7 upgrades on the aero. Oh, there we go. So now we can actually, put some more powertrain upgrades on. That is good to see. So it would only take 1,100 R&D points, and then we'd have, I think, the best engine in Formula 1. Anyway, let's dive it in then, ready for this weekend's Chinese Grand Prix. So, practice all completed, and it's about 700 R&D points that we earned from that session. We got all the purple scores of the program we do normally, and we've now made it to level 4 on the acclaim level as well. So we're getting even more boosts, everything like that. The team is at level 6, which is wonderful to see as well. But yeah, hopefully that should mean we can get another upgrade on the car. I must admit, the qualifying pace run did really, really well. I reckon there is the potential we could make it into Q2 this weekend. I don't want to get too optimistic, but I think there's the possibility. Back at HQ though, we are going to put the improved energy store cells minor weight reduction upgrade onto the car. That should bring us pretty much in line with Haas and Racing Point in that department. However, still a 40% failure chance is not too reassuring. But yeah, we're getting some good upgrades on the car at the moment. Like I said, we're nearly up towards Haas. You can see they've jumped past Renault. Renault have really fallen down the order at the moment. Their Racing Point have gone up as well. So yeah, AlphaTauri and ourselves closing up on Renault. We've got a good engine at the moment. We just need a few more R&D points, and then we could easily upgrade that to pretty much Ferrari levels of power. However, the aero, still a fair way off there. We definitely need a few more upgrades on that department as well. Obviously the chassis as well. Hopefully now we're getting somewhere sensible on that as well. But yeah, we're making good progress at the moment. Let's head on then into qualifying here in Shanghai. Final corner then, let's see if we can get it hooked up in our first lap of qualifying. A little bit aggressive over the curbs, but down towards the line. It's a 32.5. Going quicker than Gasly and Latifi there, and I don't think very far off Ricciardo. I reckon, yeah, this is genuinely a good shot of getting through to Q2 today. Here we go then, I've opted to go for an ever so slightly earlier run for our final one in Q1, just because there's a little less traffic, hopefully, on the circuit to get in the way. But let's ride on board then for a lap around the Shanghai circuit. Let's see if we can try and improve. We only need a couple of tenths, and that'll get us past a few cars here. So hopefully that might be enough. Down into 1. Love this corner when you get it hooked up. This is very much a bit of a weird track for me. Sometimes I'm really feeling it around here. Other times, it's one of the worst tracks on the calendar. But clearly the car's balance suiting this place. It really does test all aspects of a Formula 1 car. Not the best run through Sector 1 as we head down into the hairpin. Yeah, not a particularly good run through the first half of the lap. Let's see if we can keep it tidy through the S's. 7th gear, pretty much pinned. A little bit of a blend through the first part there, then cycle it all the way back down into 4th. Try and get the apex through there. It's so difficult to try and get the power down out onto the next little straightaway. We're still, yeah, about quarter of a second down. So we need to try and keep it clean and tidy through here. Come on, you. Oh, we made a bit of time there, but we're going to lose a bit of it again as we head out onto the back straightaway. We're going to be about a 10th down as we head in towards the final couple of corners here. We're going to need to absolutely nail them if we want to get anything more out of this qualifying session. Braking just for the 100 board. Try and clip the apex nice and tidily. We're green. I don't know by how much though. About half a tenth. One more corner to go. Again, a little bit ragged over the curbs on the exit, I'll be honest, but we didn't make any time up from it. 400ths improvement in the end, and at very best, it's going to be P17. Gutted with that. If we'd found a quarter of a second there, where could we have been? So, when qualifying is all done and dusted, Bottas half a second clear in Q1. They're a fantastic display by the Mercedes driver. But for us, it's only going to be P18. Had we found that quarter of a second, by the looks of it, it wouldn't have made any difference when all the fastest times were put through there. You can see both Haas cars, both 212 Motorsport cars, and both Williams don't make it through into Q2 there. And yeah, the AlphaTauri is now looking very, very quick. Gasly all the way up in 11th place there in the end. Only 6 tenths quicker than ourselves. So we just need a few more upgrades on the car. And then we can really, really try and push it towards the front of the field there. But yeah, a rough qualifying session. Felt there was a bit more. I'll be honest, feeling a little bit happy with the fact that it probably wouldn't have got us into Q2 anyway. But let's dive it in then, ready for the Chinese Grand Prix.
It's time to find out which driver is up to the task of claiming the Chinese Grand Prix. We're here in Shanghai. We're here in the Yangtze River Delta today, home of the 16 corners that make up the Shanghai International Circuit. 54% of this 3.3-mile lap is taken at full throttle, and we'll be getting up to speeds of around 200 miles an hour, with DRS assisting the cars down the back straight before they brake into the sharp hairpin at turn 14. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. Looks like they've got a tough race in store today, as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
Everyone has to deal with penalties or reliability issues from time to time throughout their career. You just have to suck up the pain and get on with the job at hand. Today isn't about performing a miracle to put the car back where it should be. It's about effective damage limitation.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Norris, Carlos Sainz, and Ocon, Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Hamilton, and Valtteri Bottas, Stroll, Perez, Daniel Kvyat, and Albon, Gasly, Grosjean, Mr. Monaco, and Daniel Ricciardo. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Magnussen, King, Latifi, and George Russell ends our grid lineup. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
Here we are then, ready on the grid for round 4 of the season here in Shanghai. We've obviously scored 2 points finishes in a row in the last 2 races this season, both of which have come probably from lucky safety cars, being completely honest, but you've got to be there to capitalise on those at the end of the day. But round 4 of the season, though, should be a fairly textbook one-stop strategy, mediums onto the hard compounded tyres, just like back in Bahrain. But we'll wait and see what happens here. A little bit of a mixed up grid as well. We've got a couple of cars not quite where they should be, but hopefully we can keep it clean and tidy on the opening lap and see where we end up. Ready then for round 4 of the season here from China. Let's do this thing. The 5 lights are going to be coming on now then. 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the Chinese Grand Prix. Not a particularly brilliant getaway, I'll be honest, trying to manage the wheel spin. Ricciardo able to fly past us on the run down in towards turn 1. We'll try and keep the nose there around the outside of him. See if we can find any room. Yes, we can. Just about able to slot up by the looks of it a couple of places there. Don't really want to keep the nose on the inside of Perez, I'll be honest there. But you can see, coming out of the first couple of corners, we've made up 1 spot then. We've got the AlphaTauri on the outside of Gasly as we head down in towards the hairpin. Just avoid the Constantina and up. We've got to be patient on the outside. Trying to look around the outside of Grosjean. We might be 3 wide again. Yep, I'm going to guess we are. Because Grosjean completely slammed the door on us. Keep the nose there on Gasly. No, we can't do that either. So we do hold on to P17 though. Can we look again around the outside of the AlphaTauri? We're being a bit optimistic at the moment. But we'll send it up the inside. And we will move ourselves up into P16 of the Grand Prix. Albon and Perez going side by side. That's slowed them both down. Grosjean just trying to look for anything he possibly can at the moment. On the soft compounded tyres, we got Grosjean on the softs, Albon on the mediums, Perez on the hards. As we head out onto the back straightaway for the first time. Back end getting very, very loose, but we hold on to it. In the end, we're going to get a mega run on Grosjean and Perez here, and maybe Albon. Triple overtake, yes please. I'll have that. Look at the straight line speed we've got over all of these guys, and we're straight up into P13 of the Grand Prix. Perez tries to have a look around the outside, but we slammed the door shut on that one.
Nice start. Let's keep it up.
We'll have that, thank you very much. But I'm sure we're going to see them coming straight back past us very, very quickly. End of lap 1 though, we have survived and we're up 4 spots as one of the Williams dives in at the rear of the field. On to lap 3, we're in the slipstream of Lance Stroll. We're going to have the DRS as well. Perhaps we can get close enough to him, 210 miles an hour. As we head down the back straightaway, he's on the hards. We're going to go for the send. bit of a lock-up on the inside wheel, but we get the car rotated round. I remember the P12 of the Grand Prix. It's going to be intriguing to see when all the soft runners decide to pit in as well. But at the moment, yeah, rather weird grid. Obviously, has made that everyone's not quite where you'd expect them to be. Next up the road is Bottas on a set of the hard compounded tyres. So, lots of different strategies. Lots of cars to look out for. Oh, soft runners into the pits. End of lap 4, very, very early. To making the call, we've got Gio, Stroll and Sainz. So I'm inside the top 10 now, up in the 9th place. End of lap 5, Ocon dives it into the pit lane as well as Grosjean behind us. So, don't know how many of the guys in front still are on a set of softs, but surely they're going to be diving it in soon.
5.4 seconds.
Verstappen, another man that was on the softs, into the pit lane. Up into 7th. Oh, yellow flag's out. Someone's having issues. It looks to be one of the Alphas. I think that's Raikkonen. With, yeah, Raikkonen pulling over to the side of the race circuit then. When all that's going on, we've seen a load more drivers dive it into the pits. Raikkonen's out of the session. Heartbreak for the Alfa Romeo, man. He was having a very, very strong day out so far in this race. But for us, though, it's moved us up into the podium and another safety car. We're 4 from 4 for safety cars this season. What do we do, though? Can we get the hards to the end? We're going to have to risk it, surely. I'll be honest, I'm not really too sure who this has worked out well for at this stage of the day. But we're going to come in, see if we can go to the end. It looks like Seb's trying to go for the same strategy as ourselves. But into the pit lane we go. Get it slowed down. That's always the priority. We've got a huge train of cars coming in behind us. Hopefully, though, however, being at the far end of the pit lane, we won't get held up. It's then just a case of seeing how well these hards go. We did struggle on the mediums in that first stint, but hopefully, good clean stop, 2.6, not bad. Where are we going to be out in this Grand Prix? 11th place on the looks of it. Yeah, 11th place then. Behind Giovinazzi on a set of mediums, Verstappen on a set of hards, although he came in a few laps ago, so I've got no idea who's doing what. So safety car in at the end of this one then, I'll be honest. I thought it was going to be out for one more in this Grand Prix, but we are ready to resume racing once more here in Shanghai. I'll be honest, looking at the cars in front of us, I'm not too sure how many aren't going to need to pit again. Obviously some of us are going to be able to get past us just on better strategy, but we've got a lot of quick cars behind us as well. But look at Russell, up in P8 at the moment. Oh, how Williams, I'm sure, would love to finish there in this Grand Prix. But yeah, we just need to try and keep our nose clean.
Power output will be less than optimal.
That's not what you want to hear. Team is saying, well, if you'll have a look, the ICE is up to 50%, so we might think about getting a new engine in at some point in the near future. But we're ready then for the start of this race once more. At the final couple of corners, I'm sure it's going to be green flag racing from here. Pretty much. Everyone just winds back up to speed. Got to try and get the tyres up to temperature. And everything like that once more. Oh, look at the understeer at the final corner. No grip. But we race again. Nose to tail then with Russell and Giovinazzi. I'm sure Russell desperately wants to hang on to this, but he's got a long race to go. With Giovinazzi almost a big crash there between the pair of them. Russell locks up down into the hairpin. We've got to be careful because we've got Grosjean now behind us. What's that? 6 different cars from 6 different teams all around us at the moment. Russell, though, still going slowly. Obviously, I think he was the one that pit on the end of lap 1 on a set of those hards. Can we go for the send up the inside? We've got to get round him. There we do. So Russell now back out of the points. Not what he wants here for Williams.
Nice work. That brings you up a place.
At 13, pretty much now at the halfway stage of the Grand Prix. Should be able to get a good run on Giovinazzi down the back straightaway, 210 miles an hour. Giovinazzi's aware of it though. He tries to go defensive on us, actually swings around very, very late, in my personal opinion there, but he holds on to the position as we make a mistake at the final corner. Now we've got to do all that hard work again. A couple of cars into the pit lane then. I'm sure they're now trying to look to get to the end of the race, maybe on a set of mediums, quite possibly a set of hards. Sainz and Bottas in, and we're now back up into P8 of the Grand Prix, and there's a very legitimate chance that we might actually make it 3 from 3 in terms of points finishes here. We are not a team that should be scoring regular points, but we are a team that take risk under safety cars. Oh, Giovinazzi, mistake there. That might allow us to get a little bit closer. We'll dive to the inside as we head down into the S's. Yes, thank you very much. We will take that, although I'm sure he now might be able to get back past us down the straightaway, or even before that if we run lines like that. Accidentally come across his line just a little bit there. Sure, he's not too happy with that. But yeah, he's probably going to be able to get back past us down the back straight. But we will wait and see. Try and get the car rotated in. Struggling a bit still on these tyres, I'll be honest. I think it's more temps than wear around this circuit. Get the power nice and early. And we've built up about a half-second margin to Giovinazzi, but that Alfa Romeo was very, very quick down the straights. Haven't got too much ERS to play with, but no, this time round we're going to be safe. Let's see how many more places we can make. Anyone else into the pits? Not by the looks of it. As soon as I say that, Stroll decides to dive it in, as well as Giovinazzi behind us. So we're in the 6th place of the Grand Prix. Could we get our best finish yet? 11 laps to go, and then we will find out.
7 seconds between you and the car ahead.
Oh, Vettel's in front. Perez and Ocon are in behind. It's P5 in the Grand Prix. We're still doing well at the moment. We're still somehow making places. The question is, how many of the guys in front are still going to need to pit? And how quickly are people like Bottas going to close up behind us? Bottas all over the back of us. No real point in trying to defend, I'll be honest. He's taken about 4 seconds out of us in 2 laps. The Mercedes is a much quicker car, as I'm sure no one is trying to deny in this Grand Prix. But yeah, Bottas, I'm sure, about to just wave goodbye to him down this back straightaway. We'll come out of the ERS, everything like that. Just no point even fighting him. And yeah, Bottas, I don't know if he's up into a net lead. I don't know what the top 5 is still planning on doing here, but not long to go with this Grand Prix. We got Albon and Vettel now closing up behind us as well. Seb all over the back of us. He's going to go for it before we even get onto the back straightaway. Wasn't quite... Cheers, Seb. Cheers for that one, buddy. Not quite what we wanted. Just sit on the apex there. We might have to send it back up his inside into the next corner for that. Yeah, at the moment, though, we're still hanging on in there. Looking back, we got Gasly in 9th. He might be able to score Alpha Tower's first points of the season, but not long to go left of the Chinese Grand Prix. There is a big, big swarm of cars, though, not far behind him. I don't actually know where my teammate is. He might be in about 11th or 12th. He can't be much further back than that at the moment, but we got Albon all over the back of us as well. Sure, he's about to fly past us. I don't know if any of the guys in front are going to pit again. I'm starting to question now whether I've got my strats wrong and actually they're going all to the end. Albon closing in. We're not really going to try and fight him if he goes for it. Yep, there we go. Albon up the inside. We'll just let him by. And yeah, look at that. Jordan King, our teammate, holding on to 10th place at the moment. What a legend. Could he get some points on the board for us as well here in this Grand Prix? We got 5 laps to go here from Shanghai. Anything is possible. On to the final lap then of the Chinese Grand Prix. What a race it's been so far for us, and every single Grand Prix so far this season after Bahrain. The team have come over the radio on the grid and said, we scored points in the last race, let's see if we can keep up that momentum. And in both Vietnam and today, I thought, yeah, that's not really going to happen, is it? Let's be real. We got lucky in Bahrain. We had a late safety car, which helped us out. Vietnam, we got a late safety car that helped us out. China, it wasn't a late safety car in all fairness, but it was another safety car. That's helped us out here. It allowed us to go for a very, very risky strategy. Most of the midfield runners that we probably would have been battling have had to go for alternate strategies. It didn't quite suit out their race plan at the end of the day. But at the moment, we're taking risks, and they're paying off. And as a lower team in Formula 1, that's all you can really do. I mean, that's the whole point of a lower team in Formula 1. You take risks and hope they pay off. At the final corner, though, Charles Leclerc is going to make it 3 wins out of 4 Grand Prix and retake the lead of the championship. Ferrari, is anyone going to be able to stop him this season? That is a big, big question I'm sure we're all going to be asking at the moment. Unfortunately, my teammate Jordan King, he was running in 10th until like 2 laps ago, but by the looks of it, it's completely dropped off to about P14, P15 now, so heartbreak for him at the end of the day. Gasly, though, is going to score good points for AlphaTauri as well, but through the final corner, it was 7th in Bahrain, it was 8th in Vietnam, and it's going to be 8th here in the Chinese Grand Prix. 4 more points on the board. Who would have thought that?
There'll be many smiles at the factory after that one. A great race and a real team performance to take the win here in Shanghai. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix. And there's certainly a team that know what they're doing out there. Let's see how the driver standings have changed. Charles Leclerc assumes the lead in the standings after today's outstanding result. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. Look at where they finished compared to where they started. It's not easy to cut through the field like that in Formula 1, so it was a great effort.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari continued to extend the gap at the top of the table. There was also a strong showing from the Mclaren team today as they make their way up the standings. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula 1. Be sure to join us for the next one.
So there we are then, guys, the end of the Chinese Grand Prix. Like I said, Charles Leclerc, 3 race victories out of 4 means he reclaims the lead at the top of the Drivers' Championship. Hamilton in P2, a good race result from him after a very, very rocky start to the season from Mercedes. And Max Verstappen once again finding himself on the podium when all is said and done there. Bottas in 4th ahead of Lando Norris, a fantastic drive by him to finish 5th at the end of the day, able to beat Sebastian Vettel as well as Alex Albon there. And yeah, good recovery drive actually from both Mercedes and Albon, getting back up inside the top 7 there. Myself though, 17th to 8th. I think genuinely we've made up about 35 places in the first 4 Grand Prix of the season. That would be good in the whole season for a lot of drivers. I think now we've been incredibly lucky. I'm not going to deny that, but you've got to be there right when it matters. Like I said, Pierre Gasly picks up some all-important points for AlphaTauri as well. They're in 9th ahead of Carlos Sainz, making it a McLaren double points finish there. Giovinazzi just misses out ahead of Stroll and Grosjean with Perez, Ocon, Ricciardo, and then Jordan King. He was 10th with 2 laps to go, and he completely fell off at the end of the Grand Prix. They're gutted for my teammate that he couldn't get more out of the car when all is said and done. But having a look though, I mean, the fastest laps, pretty much everyone bar my teammate in the Williams had a quicker fastest lap than us. That's just how lucky we got with that safety car there. Magnussen comes through an 80 ahead of Kvyat and the Williams there, and Raikkonen the one man not to make it to the end of the Grand Prix there. In terms of, therefore, in the Drivers' Championship, Charles Leclerc 13 points clear at the top of the table there. Verstappen jumps to 1 point clear of Valtteri Bottas. Lando Norris moves himself into 7th. We move ourselves up into 8th place there ahead of Ricciardo and Ocon there as Stroll drops down outside the top 10. Carlos Sainz jumps past Raikkonen. Pierre Gasly jumps past all of the lower runners there as still just Magnussen, Grosjean, Jordan King, Kvyat, Latifi and Russell yet to score after the opening 4 races there. And in the Constructors' Championship, McLaren move themselves up back to best of the rest. We somehow find ourselves ahead of Racing Point. I'm intrigued to know how long that'll stay in those positions throughout the entirety of this season. Ferrari, though, 40 points clear at the top, and obviously AlphaTauri now out of the starting blocks, leave Haas and Williams the only teams yet to score. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, do make sure you get yourself subscribed. That was, again, a really, really good fun race. But next time out, we'll be heading to Zandvoort. A bit of a shorter circuit. Only time will tell to see how we fare around there. Be back here tomorrow, ready for the Belgian Grand Prix? Not quite, Matt. The Dutch Grand Prix. I'll see you guys there.